we want to discuss with you why, after being married for 9 years and living here in America, we have decided to start seriously prepping to move and live permanently in the Philippines. But there were three main decisions, basically reasons of why we started. One was the family support that we would have in the Philippines. Two was the amount of American money we are able to take to the Philippines. And three is that we are business owners. We have been business owners since we have been married, and her family also are business owners. But with that said, let's start off with the first one, family support. Baby Cole, you want to go ahead and tell everyone about kind of the breakdown of your family structure in the Philippines?
Okay, so I have three brothers, one sister, and I have a bunch of cousins and nephews in that area. So in that area, my family is known. So because most of my mom relatives live in that area. My father's side is from Bohol, so I it's really not a lot of my father's side. So mostly it's on my mom's side. So yeah, that's it.
Sorry, someone's playing soccer next to us and they kicked the ball over here, so they was a little worried, but everything's okay. The other thing about under this family support side is that her family owns a pretty large fishing business in the Philippines.
Yeah, my dad and mom own a couple of fishing vessels, which kind of my whole family, my relatives are helping them in that type of business.
Now with that, in the Philippines, I don't know if you've seen some of our last videos when we was in the Philippines for 3 months, coming back in March, but we also already have a house there in the Philippines, and this is where we stayed. It's kind of like her parents had a house and they keep adding on to it, different sections. But what else? Because doesn't your family own multiple properties also?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of it started with this like a couple of months ago, a year before that. I told my mom and dad that we're planning to move to the Philippines. So I said we might gonna look for a land or land with a house already in there, or we gonna build a little house in there so we have a house to permanently live close by my family. So my dad said, why do you have to buy a house when we have this big house? So what my dad did is he extended the house. So the second floor, he built the second floor. So that second floor is for us, intended for us to stay.
Yeah, so then, you can see the family support. My wife kind of has a family structure that's there in that area with her parents, her brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, and cousins in that area. But the second reason that really helped our decision is that we're going to be taking American money to the Philippines to live. And I don't know if you're from Canada, America, the UK, or any first world country. Then you end up taking the money that you make here and using it to live off of initially to get you started in the Philippines. Because one of the great things about that is the cost of living is so much cheaper in the Philippines. Baby, give them an example about the cost of living compared to what you've seen of America after living here for 9 years.
Okay, so like for example, an apartment here, if you were renting an apartment for like $1,000, so that the same apartment, if you will be in the Philippines, will only cost like $100 or $150, something like that.
Yes, that's cheap. That is very cheap. But like I said, there's a support structure there also, because we're going to be living not in the big cities. Just like we live here in Arkansas, I don't know a lot of people, if you know about Arkansas, it's considered the natural state because we have more trees than we have people. And living out on the province area will provide for you fresher food and get you away from those big grocery stores like we have in America, where things are more expensive. But not only that, on the side with the taking the American money to the Philippines, is that I am a service-connected disabled veteran. So I receive checks each month from the VA due to my military injuries. So, and that really would help with our journey moving to the Philippines. Anything you wanted to add, Baby Cole, when it comes to just that money factor of living in America and moving to the Philippines?
No, about the business.
Okay,
So do the business, cover also the business.
okay, now we're going to go, because that was that. I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're going to go into the business, because remember, it was family support, American money, and we're business owners, and her family's a business owner. So one of the third things that really helped our decision was the fact of being business owners. So, Rebecca, why don't you go ahead and kind of explain the different type of businesses that your family members own in the Philippines?
Okay, so aside from my dad's and mom fishing business, they own also a mobile business, like a mobile disco that you have to rent. So Filipino love to do this
Karaoke.
disco. Then they have also a karaoke, for rent. And then so on my brother's side, so my elder brother has my elder brother and his wife, they own a beauty salon and a dessert shop. Second brother own he and his wife own a little store just outside in their house, and
What about that? That's your second to the oldest brother.
Yeah.
What about his wife? She owns a business also,
she
right?
owns a business also. This sells an online through Facebook also, like
She basically get merchandise from like Cebu and Manila, kind of from the bigger cities that's not offered or provided in these province areas. And what she does is she'll have her sister purchase this merchandise, send it to her, and she sells it around to that province area, because those people are not able to get out to the other major islands like Cebu and Manila.
Exactly.
So,
My
right?
youngest brother own a pizza store. There's a little pizza store, and then my younger sister, she has a little store in the house also, but she sells frozen items.
Right. So basically, on the business side of it, you can see my wife's family is business orientated and business minded like we are. And I'm not afraid to go to the Philippines and start a business, because when I'm in the Philippines, I see people from other countries owning businesses, and when I speak to them, they've been owning these businesses for years. Not only that, I've been a business owner in America for years. Therefore, I'm not afraid to go somewhere else and start a business. Now, but there's a business you actually want to have in the Philippines. What is that business?
Okay, so I really love to have a boarding house in the city itself. That caters to the workers, the part-time workers, like nurses, most especially to the students, college students, high school students that was living in the city that want to rent some rooms. Bid spacer, that's what I really like it.
Yeah, because that area, when we were there, and I noticed there's multiple colleges, there's medical colleges, then you have nurses. So on that aspect, we was planning on having boarding houses
Boarding
that can
house,
handle different levels of income.
Yeah.
So you may have a base, then you may have a middle level, and then you may have an upper level as far as the type of boarding houses that we want, kind of where the boarding houses may have that, but then also with it or next to it, you may have like 3 or 4 small apartments.
Yeah.
So
we look at already some a few of the buildings or slot land to build our
yeah, we
future
did.
boarding house.
We did. We went there and we looked at locations where we can have one purchase the land and then build one. Then we looked at locations that there was already a building there that can be converted
or
into
add
the
another
boarding.
level.
Correct. That's converted and added to boarding houses. But under the business also, the biggest part and the biggest aspect of that is the multiple level incomes that we have here and the multiple levels of income we are planning to have there. For example, as being a store manager of a retail company for 10 years, it was my stock purchases that allowed me to purchase my first gas station, and just the money that I made from the growth of that. So we still now currently have stock.
And we keep buying stocks.
Correct. We keep buying it, but we're buying some good stocks and we're buying growth stocks, dividend stocks. I'm not afraid to invest in good companies. The thing about that stock will be basically used for our emergency fund and as further to allow it to grow as we get further towards our retirement age. But another stream of income is, for example, this YouTube channel, and here soon we're going to be starting a blog. Now, a blog doesn't make money right off the bat. It takes about 2 years of good hard work before you start seeing some good income on the blog. And now we're not planning to be millionaires and rich off of YouTube, but you think about it. If you had a YouTube channel and you made $100 a week of profit after whatever you spent on making your videos, that's basically in the Philippines 5,000 pesos. So about $100 here is 5,000 pesos in the Philippines. When I was in the Philippines, there's a lot of people that I met who their monthly salaries was 5,000 pesos. So basically, if I wanted to hire someone to basically take care of our house and different things like that, it would cost me $100 a month. So that's why I don't look down on just making a small amount of money on YouTube and not making, let's say, $100,000 a year of YouTube. Because remember, once again, we're going to be taking this American money and living in the Philippines. But you also another business you wanted. Was it a store?
It's an online store. I have it already set up, but it's on a Facebook. So I was planning to bring some goods for here in America, new and used, sell it there because it's really high demand buying this product that was from here in America.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It's kind of another income.
Yeah, I noticed that, and we met people here in America who send merchandise to their family in the Philippines because it is such a big need for products not necessarily made in America, but made for Americans because of the standard, the clothing, and the different product has to be in order to be sold in America.
Yeah.
But there's one other business that we was there last time when I was having a conversation with her father. It's that he wanted to always have like a water filtration business to go with his shop, and I thought that was a great idea to have a water filtration because I researched it. It's something that we can do as a team, but also it will build money to where we're basically trying to have a business that we can live off of that money from the business in the Philippines, and then the money that we make here in America, let's say from my VA, that's just extra money that goes over into savings or emergency funds or when we want to travel to different areas. So our what really influenced our decision once again was just it's three main things. It was family support, American money to the Philippines, and being business minded, and how her family is also business minded. Baby Cole, is there anything you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes. Now she's right on that, because now would be a good time to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we're going to have a series of blogs.
Yeah.
In our next video, we're going to be discussing how we are downsizing to prepare for our move to the Philippines. And we will do a series of videos of what we're cutting, what we're taking out here, so that we can take a certain amount of money to the Philippines. And remember, like I said, we own the business here, so eventually we're going to get to the point that we're going to have to sell that business and sell the equipment, the business name, and different things like that. So like always, I thank you for your time. And Baby Cole, if you don't have nothing else to say,
Thank you.
I am Jonathan,
I am Galan.
and we thank you for stopping by.